Take off that medal before speaking to this court. The judge's voice rang out sharp, colder than the marble pillars. And just like that, every eye in that room snapped to the old man at the witness stand, a man whose hands trembled just a bit, whose blue blazer looked like it had seen more sunrises than some of these young lawyers had seen legal briefs, and right over his heart, pinned neat and quiet, was a silver star that caught the morning light and refused to apologize for being there. Nobody breathed, nobody moved, and the silence settled in, heavy as stone. He didn't say a word, just met the judge's gaze, steady, not angry, just the look of a man who's lived too long to be rattled by small men with big voices. That's when, way in the back, someone in full military dress stood, chest of ribbons, spine straight as a gun barrel. And he lifted his hand and said, clear and flat, "Permission to speak, Your Honor." And you know what happened next? That one moment cracked the judge's career wide open and forced everyone there to reconsider what honor really looks like. The courthouse was packed that day, not for the property case on the docket, but for the man taking the stand. Whispers had gone around for weeks, never talked about his service, never made a fuss at Memorial Day, just showed up, silent, steady. Mr. Joseph Emery. He came an Alanino lawyer, no family, just a pair of battered shoes and that old blazer with a silver star, pinned not like a trophy, but like a scar you can't forget. Most folks had never seen one in person, and truth is, it made them nervous. The judge, Harold Whitmore, was known for being all business, no patience for sentiment, no love lost for ceremony, and zero military service of his own, just pure ambition and a mean streak a mile wide. When Joseph's name was called, he stood up slow, like every step was measured, like he wasn't going to let the world rush him. Not now. Not ever. The judge leaned forward, eyes narrowing, and said, "Before you begin, remove that medal. This is a courtroom, not a parade." It hit the air like a slap. Somebody coughed. A woman gasped. The whole place just froze. Joseph just looked at him, tired more than mad. The judge, not used to being ignored, barked, "Remove the medal, Mr. Emery, or you will not be permitted to speak." That's when it shifted, not just for Joseph, but for everyone watching. He reached up, unclipped the silver star, and set it down beside the microphone, gentle as you fold a flag for the last Timino show, just quiet dignity. The room went dead quiet. Judge Whitmore nodded. "You may proceed," and the lawyer stepped up like he couldn't get away fast enough. "Mr. Emery, please state your name and occupation for the record." "Joseph Francis Emery, retired, former aircraft mechanic, United States Army, 1st Cavalry Division." He didn't brag, just laid out the facts like laying bricks. The questions came, all routine: easement rights, survey lines, who had keys to what gate, but nobody was really listening to the lawyer, not after that. People kept glancing at the silver star sitting on the wood, at the judge who looked like he'd bitten into a lemon, at Joseph, answering every question with a voice that sounded like it had been worn down by wind and war. At one point, the other attorney, the slick type, suit too sharp for his own good, tried to rattle him. "Mr. Emery, would you agree that memories fade with time?" Joseph barely blinked. "I remember who died under me. I don't forget those names." And you could have heard a pin drop. The lawyer gave up fast. When Joseph stepped down, he left the medal behind, and that's when the real scene happened. That man in uniform, who'd stood so silent in the back, raised his voice just enough. "Your Honor, may I speak?" You could almost see the air change. The judge sputtered, "This is a court of law. I am neither counsel nor subpoenaed witness," the man said. "But I served 3 tours in Iraq, 2 in Afghanistan, and I have a right to speak when a decorated veteran is humiliated on the stand." And suddenly the power in that room shifted. People started standing, one by one, old soldiers, mostly silent, not protesting but bearing witness. The man in uniform's voice cut through the tension. "I knew Joseph Emery. Before he wore that medal, he wore blood-dragged a man out of a burning helicopter in Cambodia. That man was me." Joseph never boasted. He never wanted recognition. But what you did today wasn't about rules, it was about your discomfort with a kind of honor you can't understand. Whitmore looked about, ready to collapse into his chair. The man walked down the aisle, boots echoing, picked up the silver star with both hands, lifted it to the room. This is not jewelry. It's not decoration. It's a grave marker that happens to shine. He turned to Joseph, voice softer. You didn't remove it. You surrendered it. And that's what hurts. Joseph finally stood, and the two men said no fanfare, just that silent, crushing gratitude you see between men who've been through hell together. When they pulled apart, Joseph didn't pin the star back one, just held in his hand. The man turned to the judge. You've embarrassed a war hero in public. You've dishonored yourself, your court, your community. The consequences for that, well, they're already in motion. Then he walked out, and as he did, the whole courtroom one by one stood, not clapping, just rising in silent respect, like a tide nobody could stop. Judge Whitmore, for the first time anyone could remember, looked small lost in his own courtroom. The session ended early official reason, procedural review, but everybody knew the real reason. The judge had lost the room, and the room wasn't going to give it back. By sundown, word was out, no reporters in the courtroom, but the story went viral, passed from phone to phone, Veterans Hall to Veterans Hall, a clip of a judge demanding silence, and instead being met with a silence older and louder than his gavel. Within a week, complaints poured in from across the counter-veterans groups. Even a sitting senator called for accountability. Sponsors yanked their support, and by Monday, Judge Whitmore was off the schedule, early retirement for personal reasons. Yeah, right? Joseph Emery never came back to that core that didn't need to. His silence had already made the only argument that mattered. A month later, someone snapped a photo of Joseph at a memorial wall, metal pinned, not in defiance, but in peace, with that same young officer in the background, just watching, making sure the old story stayed honored. The courthouse never put up a plaque, never apologized, just let the whole thing vanish. But the story didn't vanish. It bounced through veterans forums, legal conferences, classrooms everywhere. People cared about right and wrong, about the kind of honor you can't legislate or silence. Judge Whitmore faded into nothing but a warning. His legacy? A viral clip of a man in robes ordering silence, then getting more of it than he could ever handle. Sometimes justice isn't about a verdict. Sometimes justice is an old soldier setting down a medal, and the world standing up to remember why. So, let me ask you, where's the line between rules and respect? Between order and honor? And when's the last time you stood up for something that actually mattered? Drop your thoughts below, because honestly, stories like this, they don't just belong to the past, do they?